When over 15 years ago I was setting my first serious sales meetings, usually after 15 minutes being face to face with my new prospect, I often ran out of things to say. And if any of you who watch this video did with sales before, you know that strict exchange of commercial information in sales conversation takes only a moment. It can be 20%, 30%, maybe 70% of the total time. And if any salesperson talks only about their product, service and related matters, because I don't know, has a strict agenda and sticks to it very tightly, I feel sorry for his clients. Seriously, every business are people, and smart people want to get to know each other before they make key purchasing decisions which will affect their business. That's why they never just talk only about the product and company. Which doesn't change the fact that when I started my first sales job, I was struggling with what to say right after I finished talking about mentioned company and product. In this video, I would like to focus on the inner game, which greatly affects where you'll be able to build a good rapport consistently. Every time you meet a new client, feel at ease, be relaxed, and never run out of smart things to say. In any social interaction, there's always one person reacting more to the other person. And the one who is the least reactive has the most value. You may be wondering, but what does that have to do with sales conversation? Basically, everything. I remember that before I took my first steps in sales, I was afraid of silence. It seems to me that if I talk a lot, I leave a better first impression than if I were to say less. And that's the first thing that needs to be fixed. Excessive talking in 90% of cases is a symptom of nervousness. It reveals that you care too much and pushes you to a subordinate position. At the same time, puts your client in a dominant. In other words, you react more, and because of that, what you say has less value. Your client stops listening to you and you start losing his attention. So it's not about talking a lot in the first place, but about speaking from a position of strength and power, which means being able to chill out and speak as naturally as possible without forcing yourself to say anything. Meantime, many times in my sales career, I've met salespeople who didn't let their client to express freely. Moreover, they were convinced that by speaking a lot, they were doing a good job. Please keep in mind that selling is primarily about making your client feel good in your company, about making them reveal their real objections, doubts, fears and obstacles that must be overcome to successfully close the sale. Therefore, in the first place, it's not you who should talk more, but your client. And now, let's get to the point. How to have a casual conversation, engage your client, and never run out of things to say. Don't try to be perfect. Don't judge your first and worst. You must learn to turn off your internal filters that dictate you what to say and what not to say. Only because you think something sounds better or smarter or you think it's more correct doesn't mean it's better. Only by going beyond the well-known, theoretically safe comfort zone, your sales conversation will gain more authenticity and stimulate your client to talk more. Which of course doesn't mean you can say things that aren't socially acceptable, so use your common sense as well. In the vast majority of cases, however, we are dealing with a fear of saying something that we think is too ordinary and hence the problem. Therefore, don't think too much and say what you want to say. It is the first step. It's all about to gain self-confidence. You will see that when you start to say what you want to say, perception of you as a salesperson will be much better than you ever expected, and nothing bad will happen. Don't be afraid of pauses in conversation. People who lack confidence speak too fast. After they say one line, they immediately start the next one because of fear of losing attention. They are afraid to stop talking, that when an awkward silence will fall, the meeting or phone call will end immediately before they can make any arrangements. But There's a huge difference between the embarrassing and awkward silence that comes from confusion and lack of self-confidence and the silence that comes from composure and calmness. The first one spoils everything. The second makes your client feel good. Next time you feel you are doing that, you speak too fast or you feel that you have an empty mind and you don't know what to say, take a step back. Feel calm in the gaps between the spoken sentences. Start speaking more slowly with more self-control. Take a breath. Just see what happens. In most cases, this will make your sales conversation sound more natural. Very often, the less you care, the more effortlessly you will lead the conversation from beginning to an end. Building at the same time the image of a trustworthy and professional sales consultant. Warm up before an important upcoming sales conversation. You are probably thinking right now, what the fuck you are talking about? This may sound ridiculous, but especially when you make cold calls, you have probably noticed that the first calls of the day are usually the hardest, and the next usually go more smoothly. Our mind needs time to adapt. To reach the top of your sales performance, you need to build a momentum. Personally, as my first language is Polish, when I traveled to Germany where I built sales from scratch and visited new clients, and to be clear, my German sucks at the time, already in the morning, when I was still in the hotel, I was talking to everyone I met. I was asking how goes the day, how best I get to the place where I had a sales meeting, where I can get a taxi, whatever, all only to stimulate my mind to talk in a German language. When I was stepping client's doorstep, I was ready. My mind was already focused and sharp. I was in the right state because I proactively built that state. Do you know what it would like if I didn't do that? To sum up, to never run out of things to say, you need to remember 3 basic rules. Don't try to be perfect. Don't judge your thoughts and words. Turn off internal filters. Don't be afraid of silence. Leave space for your prospect to speak. Feel the calm between the spoken words. Find inner peace and from that place lead the conversation. Build momentum. Warm up before an important sales call or meeting. To be more relaxed, you need to prepare your mind first. My name is Paweł. I built a network of contact and sales from scratch several times in my career on the European market for companies operating in the industrial sector. If you are looking for reliable information and sales advice, please subscribe and see you soon.